Assalamu alaikum, namaskar, good morning. You're on the air with Muheeb Hoque, and this is Let's Talk Education and Career. This is our fourth episode, and today we have two special guests on the show. We'll be talking about their experiences in regards to finding a university from Bangladesh, how did they go about doing it, the admissions process, and some tips for aspiring students wanting to go overseas. The two guests we have today are currently studying in Australia. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the guests that are with us today. So let's start with our first guest. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Kazi Umar. I'm from Bangladesh. I moved to Australia like around 3 years ago. I'm right now. I'm studying at QUT, fourth year, engineering, civil engineering, and yeah, I'm from Dhaka. It's been a while. I've been to Australia.
So, and our next guest, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I am Kazi Lamia Alam and I just moved in recently to Australia and it's just been a month and I have joined uni QUT and doing my bachelor degree of architecture.
Thank you very much for introducing yourselves. We are really happy that you could be with us today. So, welcome to Let's Talk Education and Career. On the episode, I'm going to be asking our two guests various questions about this. So, we'll start with our first question, which is why did you decide to choose Australia as an overseas study destination? Kazi, can you go first?
Yep, sure. So my initial plan was to go to America. I was studying for my SATs and everything. It was gonna take a while, like around 6 months. So I ended up getting a scholarship in Australia, somewhere around Victoria, and that's why I decided to come to Australia.
Thank you for that, Kazi. Now we'll move on to Lamia, and if you could tell us how did you find out about Australia, and why did you choose Australia instead of other study destinations?
Well, to be honest, mainly I chose Australia because, like, for credit transfer, the process was really easier. Like, if I picked America or Canada, I had to go through a lot of hassle, and also weather. Like, to be honest, like the weather is kind of similar to Bangladesh, and to be honest, I really can function in cold weather. I go really lazy, so I wanted to be in a place where I can actually function and like go to uni and like study. So yeah.
Thank you. That's very true. I think considering the weather of different places and how comfortable you are with the environment is a massive factor in deciding where you want to go and study. Thank you for that, guys. The other factor that I forgot to mention is what our first guest Kazi mentioned, and that is that he did get a scholarship. And when you decide a university, it is really important that you look out for scholarships and which university will offer you that scholarship. And it helps with your living costs, it helps with your tuition fees. So certainly a very important factor to consider as well. Our next question to our guests is going to be about the difference between high school and university, and how did they manage the transition when they went from finishing high school and then on to university. We'll start with Kazi first.
So the transition from a high school in Bangladesh and a uni in overseas is completely different. Once you graduate from high school in Bangladesh, you're generally still a kid. You're still looking at your parents for guidance, your teachers for guidance, and everything is spoon fed to you. But once you get to Australia, you have loads of responsibilities to worry about, taking care of yourself. You need to stay healthy, maintain a proper diet, cooking, cleaning, and basically looking at your assignments as well. But yeah, that's it. It was a huge transition for me, to be honest, and it took a while for me to get adjusted to the cultural difference as well. So yeah, that's some of the transitions.
Thanks for that, Kazi. That's very interesting. We'll move on to our next guest, Lamia. And what about you, Lamia? How did you find that transition for yourself?
I after my high school, I joined uni back in Bangladesh, And to be honest, like it wasn't that difficult because after doing uni, I used to go back home and didn't had to think about anything else. I could just go to sleep and food was right there, like made, like mom is offering me, come on, have dinner, have food. But here, when I've just joined, like I have seen, I have to think about my meals 3 day per day, like including the studies, and then like you have to think, oh, I have to like have my food and then like breakfast. Like when you wake up morning before going to uni, you have to think about your breakfast and then lunch and then dinner. And also there's a lot of things like you have to balance, like your assignments and study, and then like a lot of things you have to be more responsible. Like when back in Bangladesh, we didn't really realize the difference, like we had everything ready for us, but here it's actually like difficult. We actually face the real life problems, like uni studies. Like you get your more independence, freedom, but like with that comes out a lot of responsibility as well.
Thank you, Lamia. That's definitely very enlightening, and this is really true. I think a big difference of finishing high school and starting university is a sense of independence. You learn real life skills. You learn how to tackle issues that you would face if you were living outside of your home. So obviously, that transition also includes being mentally prepared to take on additional responsibility that are aside from your academic responsibility that you have at the university. Thank you for that, guys. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the applications process or the university admissions process. So, Kazi, can you tell me a little bit about the admissions process that you had to go through in order to get admitted at a university in Australia?
Yep, of course. So there were loads of things to consider when I was researching for different universities. Obviously, it was exciting that I'm going overseas and everything, but there was like career opportunities. Will I get a PR over there? Will I get good jobs? Can I stay back after I graduate? And will the degree be available for me to work worldwide? So I researched all of that, and then I took some help from different other parties to get me into universities. They helped out a lot. So when you compile those information and take it to one place, they'll show you that what exactly you're looking for, what budget you would have. And I was a bit disappointed with my first option, to be honest. Like I expected it to be a bit different. I went to a university in Victoria, and everything was alright. The uni was alright, but coming from a place full of people, full of 160 million people, in fact, if you go to like a place that's a bit like not that much crowded, not that much lively, you'll have a difference in emotion. You'll be a bit disappointed. So I would advise everyone to do their research properly and not end up like me. And yeah, that's sort of it for me. Yeah.
Thanks, Kazi, for your honesty. Actually, that's really good to tell us exactly the problems you faced. One of the things that we spoke about in our previous episodes was that to make sure you find out the location of the university, the size of the town, and also the fact that you're looking for a globally renowned degree, you're looking for work opportunities. So these are all the things that a student must consider before they pick a university. So thanks for that, Kazi. We'll move on to Lamia. Lamia had a bit of a different experience. She did go to university in Bangladesh as well and then transferred here. So Lamia, can you tell us a little bit about the process of credit transfer that you did do from Bangladesh to here? And any challenges that you faced or anything that was quite easy for you?
Um, After I finished my high school, I immediately joined university there. So after I joined there as an architecture student, I have get to know a lot of things about architecture which I didn't had knowledge before, which was like after I graduate, I wouldn't be able to like do international projects like if I don't have a license like that, like which is globally known. So for the uni that I picked, I actually like did research which is the universities which are globally known, and the license that I'll get, will I be able to work as an international architect, and will I be able to do work as an international architect everywhere. So for the procedure for my credit transfer was like the all the units that I had to run, I actually had to go to all the professor and get the outlines,
Yeah.
and collect all the information. I also had to give my IELTS exam, and then I applied through a help of media to the universities that I have researched and that would be well known globally.
Thank you, Lamia. And those are really good points from both of our guests, that making sure that the university is accredited, that your degree is recognized. So that's good to know. You've both had different experience with the university admissions process. So we'll move on to our next question, which is, there are education agents based in Bangladesh, in Canada, in UK, and students who want to go overseas usually use an agent in order to apply. And a lot of countries have, and a lot of universities in different countries have different regulations. For example, in Australia, you have to use an agent. So we'll start with Kazi. Kazi, can you tell us, you used an agent, and how did you find that? Would you recommend people using an agent for the university admissions process?
Yep, I would definitely recommend people going through agencies because it's way more simpler. They're more experienced. They know about different universities. If you go in there with a couple of questions, they can even guide you and you can apply yourself. But they basically do all the paperwork for you, and it's loads of things can go wrong with universities. Like I have a couple of friends that applied and didn't go through. That they had transferred the fees as well and had to get it back and everything. It's way too much hassle. So yeah, I would recommend going through agencies. Way more simpler, but I would definitely also suggest to everyone that you have to do your own research. The agencies will only guide you where you want to go, but you would have to know where you want to go. Definitely.
Thanks for that. That's very true. I agree with that. That nothing can really supplement doing your own research. So highly recommended. So what about you, Lamia? How did you find that process of using an agent to get admitted at a university?
Well, while I was doing my research on the universities, I went to the university website, and that's where I found the agency list, like the list of the agencies that are actually offering to the universities. So actually, I found the name of the agency through my uni website. So I contacted them, and like, I realized the system of applying was much easier if I do it through them. Like I really didn't knew the system, how I have to apply and everything. The agency helped me a lot through all the process. So it was really easy for me with the help of the agency. So I would really recommend everyone to go to agencies. Like after you do the research, you actually you should take the help from the agencies.
Thank you, Lamia. Now, did the agencies help you with the visa process as well, apart from the university admissions process, Kazi?
Yep. So with the visa, my agency did help out a lot. Since they were in direct contact with someone in India who had connections with the visa application, they communicated with them every now and then when a problem occurred, and they excelled in that as well. Now I still remember during the visa application they were the one who took me. They arranged my file. They took me to the visa office, and they stood by while my mother waited outside with them. I was the one inside, and they were still there waiting for me to make sure that everything was okay, every paperwork was legit and everything. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I think definitely getting professional help in regards to that process is very important. How about you, Lamia?
Yes, my agency also helped me with the visa procedure. Like for me, the system was different. I really didn't have to go to like a visa office. It was an online application, and they actually took all my papers. They reviewed it, and they actually did the online application for me. So it was really easy with their help.
That's right. So, this episode, we are getting a good idea of the challenges that our guests have faced. So, thank you for letting us know what you've faced. Yeah. In our next episode, we will be talking about the university admissions process in depth, for example, on a step-by-step, exactly what you need to do. And then after that, we'll also touch on our visa process. On to our next question. So, did you guys have to take an English test, before you got admitted at a university? Because language testing is part of the applications process. It's actually one of the entry requirements at a university.
Yeah.
So, Kazi, can you tell us a little bit about the testing that you had to take, and if you have any advice for students?
Yep, I took IELTS, and it was pretty alright. Since I went to an English medium school, I already had the basics done. I remember I had this Cambridge practice workbook that comes with a CD, and it's very simple: writing, speaking, listening, very cruisy. You just practice it a couple of times if you're strong in English. If not, there are some tutors that also help you with IELTS, that gets you coached up and everything. And yeah, it wasn't that hard. It was all right.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Kazi. How about you, Lamia?
Yes, I had to also give IELTS exam, and I did it right after my high school as I was planning to go abroad. And I remember like I had to practice exam question papers online. I practiced like few question papers. It wasn't like that hard for me, but then still I had to study before the exam for the IELTS test.
Great. Thanks for that, guys. One of the points that I would like to bring to our listeners' attention is that these English tests have an expiry date. So just make sure that the tests are valid and you take it 3 years for IELTS exam. Before you want to get admitted, because if it does expire earlier, then you will have to retake that test. Okay, finally, to our very last question to our guest today. So, do you have any last advice for Bangladeshi students wanting to go overseas, looking to study in a different university that's outside of the country? Can you tell us a little bit, Kazi?
Yeah, definitely. I would advise everyone to go through this procedure because personally it has changed me. Back at home, I didn't know how to cook, I didn't know how to clean. I had to learn it right now. These are basic survival skills, and it's really disappointing that some kids in Bangladesh don't have them at all. Like over here, people grow up in that way, like their parents make their kids do some decent chores that can, enable them to get ready for the future. But back at home, it's not that case. And after coming over here, I have gained some survival skills that can help me a lot to excel in my future.
So, what's your advice to Bangladeshi students coming overseas, and how can they embrace this change?
Well, they just have to be strong. They just have to have that willpower, that drive, that, yeah, I want to excel in life. I have this goal set in mind. I want to become an architect or an engineer, and I am ready to do anything and, go through any obstacles that come through my way to gain that goal.
Thank you. That's very enlightened. Thank you for that. How about you, Lamia? Do you have any final advice for students looking to study overseas?
Here we are exposed to a lot of things, like exposed to a lot of opportunities, a lot of things to do. My advice would be like be open-minded, like be up for a lot of things, but don't distract yourself in a wrong way. Like set a aim, set a goal, and go forward to it. Like that's my advice. Like don't get distracted through all the opportunities that you get.
Thank you, Lamia, for that. Thank you very much to our guest today for joining us at this episode of Let's Talk Education and Career. I hope the listeners found this very interesting, and in our next episode, we will be speaking about the university admissions process in depth. I will take you through the step-by-step process of the university admissions. That is all from us today. And see you next time. That is all from us. This is Let's Talk Education and Career, and goodbye. Thank you.